Hey everyone, Miss Janine here. It was great seeing everyone in class last night. And Paula, we missed you, but we love seeing you over on the discussion board. So I know many of you do not have books, and should have done this earlier. Let me silence my phone. I'm going to do a quick little video walking you through some of the things for chapter 1 and chapter 2 that I want you to hit on, since it was a short class last night. So let's get going. This will just kind of be the mini lecture part. I don't know that I'll do this every week. Let's just see how it goes, and we'll go from there. And yes, I am going to be reading out of my book a little bit. So I'm on page 2. Again, we have our wonderful book, Behavior of Research. And they're talking about, does social media sites like Facebook, Instagram impact our relationships? Of course they do. Of course social media impacts our relationships. It can make us angry. We see somebody's post. We see all the political posts right now. Or think back to when, people are saying don't bring the illegals here. Don't do, they're all full of ISIS people, members, whatever. What we see on social media, Facebook, we'll pick on Facebook, it does elicit a response from us. It does impact our relationships. Heaven forbid you forget to invite somebody to a birthday party or an event that you host, or you're tagging everyone in your family about an event and you forget to tag someone, or it doesn't work and then somebody feels left out. Well, you wish them a happy birthday, but you didn't wish me a happy birthday. Yes, it matters. But how does that all relate to research? In this introductory chapter, we're going to focus on ways in which knowledge of research methods can be useful in understanding the world around us. Further, we'll review the characteristics of a scientific approach to the study of behavior and the general type of research questions that concern behavioral scientists. And I can see I'm going to put my hair up. He's going to drive me nuts looking down. All right. Importance of doing research. Again, why do we care? The discussion question was, how do we evaluate information that we see on social media, that we read in articles and advertising and that type of thing? Over on page 3, second paragraph, behavioral research on human development has influenced U.S. Supreme Court decisions related to juvenile crime. In 2005, the Supreme Court decided that juveniles could not face the death penalty, and that was Roper v. Simmons. And the decision was informed by neurological and behavioral research showing that the brain, social, and character differences between adults and juveniles make juveniles less culpable than adults for the same crimes. Similarly, in 2010, Supreme Court decision Graham v. Florida, Supreme Court decided that juvenile offenders could not be sentenced to life in prison without parole for non-homicide offenses. Again, they're pointing to research. So, again, when you're looking at social media, is it research-based? Well, if it's an article from Psychology Today, it may be focused on research. But if it's from a satire-type website, then it's probably not. Research is important when developing and assessing the effectiveness of programs designed to achieve certain goals. For example, to increase retention of students, in school, influence people to engage in behaviors that reduce their risk of I feel like I just missed a sentence here, but no. Reducing their risk of contracting HIV, or teach employees how to reduce the effectiveness of stress. We need to be able to determine whether these programs are successful in meeting their goals. So research is all around us. Research is all around us. In the next paragraph or section, they talk about ways of knowing. We open this chapter with several questions about human behavior and suggested that scientific research is a valuable means of answering them. Instead of using a scientific approach, many people rely on intuition and authority. Now, intuition, it's over on page 4 in your text. think about some limitations to intuition. We all have intuition. Do we listen to it? Maybe, maybe not, depending on your experiences. If your experiences are positive, you probably, your gut tells you to buy these, I don't know, lottery ticket numbers. I don't play lottery, so I don't even know if that's how you do it, but you might stick with that. If you know that when you don't listen to your intuition, something always, you come back and regret it. Like I know for me, if my gut says there's something off with a certain situation with clients or a new client, somebody comes to work with me and my gut's just not feeling it, if I don't listen to that and I actually take them on as a client, I can almost guarantee 98% of the time I regret it because they are a pain in the backside and I should have listened to my intuition. But intuition is not 100% absolute. Intuition is really based on things that have happened in the past that help guide us. They give us that nudge of what's right or wrong. It may be we hear a voice, our mother or our grandmother, telling us, don't do that, but we really don't think about it. We just know it's a gut feeling of right or wrong. Do this, do that. So intuition is not 100% accurate. And we actually could be limiting ourselves because of our personal biases when we use intuition. So keep that in mind. And then authority. When we look at social media, we talked about this last night. Paula, you missed it. We talk about, some of look at like Nutrisystem. The celebrity athletes or the stars are all pitching. We see it every January. And then maybe more towards swimsuit season. Oh, buy this program and you're going to lose, 30 pounds in a week or a month or whatever. And people buy into it because of the pitchman, the person selling the product. Look at George Foreman grills. Do we buy it because we know the grill is going to work, or do we believe it because we like George Foreman? Wouldn't a cheaper product be just as good, but it doesn't have George Foreman's name or face associated with it? So that's where, excuse me, authority comes in, especially when we're looking, sorry guys, when we're looking at who to believe. Famous researchers, prime example, the autism studies and vaccines. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon, do not vaccinate. Vaccines cause autism. So-and-so said so, and then so-and-so said so, and then this person said so. Well, guess what? Was it last year or the year before? We found out that so-and-so lied about his research. And there is no correlation between vaccines and autism. There needs to be more research to see why people still would like to think there is, but there's lots of other things. So authority, just because again they're authority over here doesn't make them authority over here on this topic. A dog trainer might not be the right authority to talk to about horse training or cat training. So keep those things in mind, intuition and authority, and how we let our own personal biases come into play on some of these. Empiricism, and I probably just butchered that word. Page 5. Third line, scientists recognize that their ideas are just as likely to be wrong as anyone else's. Also, scientists do not accept on faith the pronouncements of anyone, regardless of that person's prestige or authority. Scientists are very skeptical about what they see and hear. Scientific skepticism means that ideas must be evaluated on the basis of careful logic and results from scientific investigations. I have 3 stars by that in my book, and if you've never had me in a class, listen up. When I tell you I got a star, or 2 or 3 or something underlined, it means you're going to want to underline that too because it's probably on a test. So on page 5, in the section with empiricism, first paragraph, last 3 lines of the first paragraph, actually kind of 2, scientific skepticism. I have 3 stars by that. Then we jump down to the scientific approach. And I think we've all heard this throughout your entire academic career. Scientific approach. Power of the scientific approach can be seen all around us, whether you look at biology, chemistry, medicine, physics, anthropology, or psychology. You see amazing advances over the course of time. Data characteristics. They list some characteristics, so data plays a central role. Scientists have a show me, don't tell me attitude. Aren't we all kind of like that? Probably. Don't show me, or show me, don't tell me. I want to see the facts, and I've even gotten that way, and you'll find you get this way too as you progress throughout your academic career. When you know somebody is just trying to one up or brag, or they just want to talk to hear themselves talk, you'll find yourself saying, and what research was that based on? Where did you find that? What credible source? You'll start hearing yourself saying these things because you just want to shut the person up. On page 6, it goes on with another one, scientists are not alone. Scientists make observations that are accurately reported to other scientists and the public. This again is where we start looking, we talked about peer-reviewed journals. We want to be able to replicate. So we're going to make sure, our committee, our peers can replicate this and agree with our findings. Science is adversarial. Science is a way of thinking in which ideas do battle with other ideas in order to move closer to the truth. Yeah. Sometimes you're going to, like with the autism thing, show me the research. Oh, you lied. Oops. Alrighty. Scientific evidence is peer-reviewed. Before a study is published in a top-quality scientific journal, other scientists who have the expertise to carefully evaluate the research review it. This process is called peer-reviewed. Page 6, peer-reviewed. Always select peer-reviewed as an option when you're looking at journals for your postings here, for your papers, especially when you get to grad school. I might not be as picky, National Enquirer, not a quality source unless you're talking to my grandma. But select peer-reviewed. Get in the habit of making sure you're clicking on peer-reviewed. And that's on page 6. That'll come in handy for the midterm, peer-reviewed. Integrating intuition, skepticism, and authority. We're still on page 6. I have 3 stars by this. First main paragraph here. The advantage of the scientific approach over other ways of knowing about the world is that it provides an objective set of rules for gathering, evaluating, and reporting information. It provides an objective set of rules for gathering, evaluating, and reporting information. That's the advantage of the scientific approach. So it's, as you grow, you don't want to always just rely on intuition, skepticism, and authority. We want to really roll it in, all of this into the scientific approach. But if something smells off, apply the scientific approach. If it seems too good to be true, apply the scientific approach. Some beliefs cannot be tested and thus are beyond the realm of science. This is also in that first paragraph under that section on page 6. Jumping over to page 7, they talk about pseudoscience is fake science, which seemingly scientific terms and demonstrations are used to substantiate claims that have no basis in scientific research. That was when we were talking last night about the I still can't. I think it's like David Trudeau, something like that. And it was, miracle cures using garlic or vinegar, those type of look at the late night infomercials. Or Google pseudoscience, fake science, and health remedies. And you'll probably come up with the guy that I'm trying to remember his name, who had all the different books. We see it all the time. Like I said, I know my sister and others believe in the essential oils, and I've been getting them, and I do, I'm willing to try it. But even Vicks Vapor Rub, there was something on Facebook the other day with Vicks Vapor Rub. Did any of you grow up with the big jar, blue jar of Vicks Vapor Rub, and you either put it under your nose because you had a bad cold, or if you had a cough, you might have put it on your chest? There was something about a year ago, somebody said, put it on the bottom, because I had a really bad cough. Put it on the bottoms of your feet and put on a pair of socks, and you won't cough when you go to sleep. I swear to God, it works. I don't know why. Kind of falls into that. I don't know. It can't be tested. Is it pseudoscience? I don't know. But somebody had posted a list with all the different things you could use Vicks Vapor Rub for other than just putting it under your nose. So as you continue your academic journey, you are going to find yourself gravitating toward quality journals, quality reading material. For ladies, you start not reading Glamour, any of those women magazines. You just kind of push them to the side and you gravitate toward more scientific journals or things that go, if you're all psych majors, you're going to go towards Psychology Today. But you're even going to find you start pushing Psychology Today away because it's fluff compared to the good stuff, the journals with real research. And that's just part of growing. Embrace it, recognize it, challenge yourself. Yeah, I still every now and then will pick up a magazine from the grocery store. I love Women's World. It's a mindless magazine when I totally want to disconnect because it's got a recipe, it's got a little bit of everything, short stories. And guys, I don't know what y'all read, but you will also find yourself ditching the sitcom television shows and gravitating toward more quality things unless you need to totally disconnect as a stress relief, and then you will maybe watch mindless TV. And it's just part of growing. It's just part of growing. Be ready for it. They talk about facilitated communication. Look at that one on page 7. And then at the very bottom of page 7, they're talking about how to tell if something's pseudoscience, untestable claims that cannot be refuted, claims relying on I can't even say the word, biased or vague language, evidence based on anecdotes or testimonials rather than scientific data. Pay attention next time you see some of the commercials with spokespeople. Tiny, tiny print you can barely read will say, this is a paid endorsement by blah, 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 blah. That's now required by the FTC. So look for that, because just because somebody's being paid, again, to pitch the vitamins or the backache pills or whatever, doesn't mean they actually have used the product. Evidence is from experts with only vague qualifications who provide support for the claim without scientific evidence. And my first thought with this would be Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil. How many journals are they still reading? Yes, they've had their heyday where they practiced, and now they're more, celebrity doctors. Are they really staying in touch with the current research? Probably not. Because with Dr. Oz, I'm thinking if he believes all these diets, every day there's a new weight loss tip or trick or potion on his show. And I'm thinking, and same with magazines, it's like, I didn't even get to go buy this stuff I read in last week's magazine, and now you got a new one? Well, if that one was so great, why do you need this one? Same with Dr. Oz. Well, if you just had yesterday's miracle diet, why is today's now replacing that one that I haven't even done yet? So evaluate those things before you run out and buy all this stuff. What else they got on here? References to scientific evidence lack information on the methods that would allow independent verification. So again, apply critical thinking and dig deep to see if it's really a quality source. I mean, it kind of goes back to the Starbucks research. Do I get out here and start claiming that everyone that goes to Starbucks, if they go inside, they're going to buy something else besides their coffee, based on research conducted in 2015, summer of 2015? No, that's not quality research, but I could probably pitch it somehow and make it sound that way. So those are all on page 8. And then the goals of behavior science. Description of the behavior is the first goal. Describe the behavior. What's going on? Prediction of behavior. What's going to happen? And determining the cause of the behavior is the third one. Determining is the third goal. Determine the cause, and then the explanation of the behavior. Why? Why has it occurred? This is kind of a repeat from Gen Psych. If any of you had Gen Psych over at Coastal, this was in that textbook years ago. And I used to say, okay, describe the behavior. Quick one example is Maureen is always broke the day after payday. Prediction of the behavior, when's it going to happen? The next payday. Determining the cause. Why is it happening? That's where you as a leader would need to sit down and figure out, why are you broke the day after payday? Does he need to budget? Does he have some debt going on that you don't know about? Did he buy a car payment he couldn't afford? Or is he supporting parents and others? And then an explanation why. That's after you've kind of dug deep into determining, then you've got the why. And then you're going to want to figure out how to stop it, how to prevent it from happening again. And that's the goals of therapy. Why is the behavior? What's the behavior going on? Your wife's nagging you to death? What did you do? Why is she nagging you to death? When's it going to happen again? When are you going to be nagged to death again? And how do you prevent it? Or if you're the one nagging your spouse to death, why do you nag your spouse to death? I saw somebody on Facebook, I won't name the person, and she had posted a picture of like the laundry, and then, you could tell it was the husband's jeans, and she said, so-and-so, and everybody jumped on board in the comments and was like, you should be happy you have somebody who provides for your family, and if all you have to do is pick up their dirty laundry. And everybody was jumping on that bandwagon. She says, oh, I wasn't complaining. And I thought, yeah, you were. You were complaining. You were being rude. People don't, need that stuff. So that's how, again, those are on page 10, 8 through 10 and 11, the goals of this. And then we jump over to 12, and they talk about basic research, applied research. Basic research tries to answer the fundamental questions about the nature of behavior. Studies are often designed to address theoretical issues concerning phenomena such as cognition, emotion, motivation, and learning, neuropsych, personality development, and social behavior. Give you a long list over there. So go on over page 12 and take a look at those. Applied research is conducted to address issues in which there are practical problems and potential solutions. That's on 13. You might want to remember that. And we have another major area of applied research is program evaluation, which assesses the social reforms and innovations that occur in government, education, and criminal justice system, industry, healthcare, mental health, blah, 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 blah. Program evaluation. You do it when you do a teaching eval on me. You do it, customer service after you leave a restaurant. You get the little email. After you take your dog to Banfield, you get a thing. Everybody wants or should want to know how they did, how their people did. And much applied research is conducted in settings such as large businesses, market research companies, government agencies, and public polling organizations, and is not publicized but is rather used within the company or industry. Yeah. I just had from Coastal, they gave me all of my student evals from almost day one since I've been there. And it was really nice to see. People love me. I don't know why some wanted more quizzes, but okay. That's chapter 1 in a nutshell. I did email you, or I put in an announcement, the questions that go along with the articles. So there's just 3 questions. Take a stab at those. And then, let's see. I'm just going to jump real quick into chapter 2. I was debating in my mind whether I wanted to stop this video or just do another one, but we're going to keep going. Chapter 2 is real short and sweet, refresher. Make sure for any tests, though, for some of these terms, you are using the words, the quotes from the textbook. Research, question, hypothesis, and predictions. Hypothesis, page 21, is a tentative idea or question that is waiting for evidence to support or refute it. Hypothesis, according to our book and for test-taking purposes for this course, is a tentative idea or question that is waiting for evidence to support or refute it. A prediction is a guess or outcome of the hypothesis. And those are on page 21. Jumping over to 22, who we study, a note of terminology. We have been using the term participants to refer to the individuals who participate in research projects. Equivalent term in psychological research is subjects. Publication manual, the APA manual 2010, allows you the use of either participants or subjects. When you get further, that will, make sure you know what your instructor, your dissertation committee, or your mentor is looking for. Other terms you may encounter include respondents and informants. Individuals who take part in a survey are called respondents. Informants are the people who help researchers understand the dynamics of particular cultural and organizational settings. And also in this section they talk about employees are in an organization, students are in a classroom, and residents are more of a living facility type place. All right, where do we get our sources of ideas? Common sense. Testing a common sense idea can be valuable because such notions do not always turn out to be correct. This is on page 23. Observation of the world around us. We see something. We wonder, why are they doing that? What's that all about? What does it mean? And then theories. Much research in the behavioral science tests theories of behavior. Past research. We might want to replicate to see if something that happened way back when is still relevant. Are Erickson's stages of development still current, still relevant today? Maybe we would do research to say, no, we now need to shuffle things around and rename them. And practical problems. Group of city planners and citizens survey bike riders, determine the most desirable route, the safest routes. They're doing some research on that. Also in this chapter, chapter 2, they talk about where to find information. They talk about journals, psych info for scholarly journals, and they show you how to conduct online research with that. So on page 29 has some major journals in psychology. Take some time to look through that. Maybe you're already familiar with them. Maybe, stay open-minded with some of this. Don't think, I know it all already. I don't need this chapter. They talk you through how to do some of the research, what it's looking for. And if you jump over to page 35, there's figure 2.2, some strategies for searching research databases, how to do a search using keywords. A lot of times I do find people have trouble finding what they want because they're not narrowing down the keywords, and usually they give it to me and within minutes I pull up half a dozen articles and things, and that you just get better with time. But take some time to look at page 35, some good stuff. I always forget about this one that's on page 37, Google Scholar. Has anyone used Google Scholar? Bring it to class, talk about it over, create a thread, and talk about Google Scholar. I know I've had students teach me about it or tell me about it, and I always forget. So, again, be open-minded to this chapter. I cannot talk. I'm talking too much. Literature review and anatomy of a research article, page 39. You're going to always have, again, most of you I think have had me in a class where I hand out articles, we read them, and I always say, look at the abstract, the beginning, and then go to the conclusion. Don't worry about the middle because it'll overwhelm you or we just don't have time. So on 39 shows the anatomy of a research article. Again, the book here says abstract 120, runs no more than 120 words. Well, we know now with the new APA manual update, it's 150 to 250. So again, depending on your organization where you would be writing to be published, they may change that. So again, stay open-minded. But look through that because this will help you set up for your research project that you're going to do. And that, my friends, is chapter 2. So short chapters, take some time to, again, go back on some of the things that I've talked about in this video and read those sections, highlight them in your book. And then I do not have the syllabus in front of me right now, but make sure you check the syllabus on what our next chapters are going to be because I am going to jump around a little bit. Based on feedback from the 2 times I've taught this before, this book, the things at the end should be first because they're just a little bit more important while you're working on your project to know. So I'm going to end this. Have a fabulous day. I love the introductions you've been doing and getting in there with each other. That's very important for the success of this. Feel free to reach out if you need anything. Again, 910-539-2810. Give me a holler, send a text. If you send me a text, be sure you put Campbell student, research methods, so I know how to switch my brain to answer your question. All right, everybody, this has gone long enough. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.